Oh hey, I didn't see you there. I was just enjoying a nice cup of tea out of my Eiffel Tower mug. Speaking of the Eiffel Tower, did you know that the Eiffel Tower was originally made for the World's Fair in 1989? And that same year just so happened to be the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. And so the people of France decided, let's build something for this. This is a grand event. I mean, the World's Fair needs something grand to show off. And why not celebrate France? I mean, it's the 100th anniversary. Go big or go home. So, they held a competition for designs for a tower. And about over 100 designs were submitted. And out of those 100 designs, a man named Alexandre Gustave Eiffel's design was chosen. So, yes, he got to name the tower after himself. Always a grand achievement when you get to do that. He was nicknamed the Magician of Iron because he worked on many different bridges made out of iron, and that was kind of his thing. He had a factory for it and everything. And he helped build little something you may have heard of, the structure for the Statue of Liberty. And so he was kind of already favorable in the minds of the people. There was about 50 engineers in total working on the designs for the Eiffel Tower, but there was two chief engineers named Emily and Maurice, with both very French names which I'm not going to pronounce. The Eiffel Tower was specifically designed to be sturdy and aerodynamic. Each of the 18,000 pieces were measured down to 1/10 of a millimeter, so it was pristine and clean. Each of the pieces was secured thermally through rivets, a technique that was favorable during that time as being strong and dependable. But it took about 4 people to secure one rivet, and there was 2,500,000 rivets out of the entire thing for about 300 construction workers to build. The Eiffel Tower was made out of something called puddled iron. It's basically the most pure form of iron there is, and that made it really soft so it could bend and sway in the wind. Actually, on a very windy day, the Eiffel Tower can sway about 6 inches left and right, and if you're standing on the top, you can actually feel it moving. On very, very windy days, they don't let anyone on it for suing reasons, even though they are very confident that it would not break. The Eiffel Tower is made out of 7,300 tons of iron. It was completed by 300 construction workers in only 2 years, 2 months, and 5 days, which is considered to be a record time for a project that big. It's also considered a marvel of precision. And for it, Gustave Eiffel won the Legion of Honor. It was said that he had spread a revolution of civil engineering and architectural design, though it was almost torn down more than once. Many people did not like it. People thought it was ugly. One man, a journalist, hated it so much that he frequently ate at the restaurant of the Eiffel Tower's base because it was one of the only places where he couldn't see the Eiffel Tower somewhere in his view. In 1909, it was almost torn down because they said, the World's Fair is over, there's no point in it being here. But many people argued that it could work as an antenna for radio transmissions, so it stayed. And actually, its radio transmitter was able to intercept quite a few messages during World War II. Also, it was almost torn down a second time during World War II, because Adolf Hitler commanded it to be torn down, but a general refused to do it. Instead, they decided, let's put a Nazi flag on top. And so, a couple of people, when they heard about this, cut the cables to the elevator, making the Nazis climb 1,665 steps to the top, where their Nazi flag, because of its height and the wind that we have talked so much about, that flag tore off. And so they had to climb to the top yet again and place a much smaller flag on top. And the Eiffel Tower used to be the tallest man-made structure in the world. That is, until the Chrysler Building was built in 1930. And, though, in 1951, the Eiffel Tower installed its antenna, making it just a little bit taller than the Chrysler Building. But the Empire State Building had been built in 1930, making that the tallest building in the world at that time. The Eiffel Tower has about over 30 replicas all around the world, the most famous being in Vegas, but there's also a couple in China, one in Russia, there's one in Japan, there's one in a place called Paris, Tennessee, and Paris, Texas. The one in Paris, Texas has a red cowboy hat on top. The tower is frequently visited by about 7 million visitors every single year, and it is to this day one of the most visited monuments in the world. And every night the tower is lit by 20,000 light bulbs. The tower symbolized progress and the humanity's drive to go up and build up. And the Eiffel Tower was actually one of the first buildings and monuments to be built not for a god, a king, an emperor, or president. It was built for France, for the people of France. And that's all it was. It wasn't a dedication to a god or an emperor or anything. It was for people, and it was built out of the mindset that we need to build things bigger and better and stronger and lighter. And this kind of mindset is what drove the Industrial Revolution. And the Eiffel Tower was a product of that. There was an article published after the building of the Eiffel Tower that said, "The law of progress is immortal, just as progress itself is infinite." And Gustave Eiffel actually said about the Eiffel Tower, saying, "It would symbolize not only the art of the modern engineer, but also the century of industry and science in which we are living, for which the way was prepared by the great scientific movement of the 18th century, and by the revolution in 1789, to which this movement will be built as an expression of France's gratitude." And by building this structure, it was a thank you to France. That's what it was. It was for people, because the Industrial Revolution was for people. It was to spread knowledge and architectural design and advancements in science through building and through production. And by producing 18,000 pieces of iron to build this, in which Gustave Eiffel built in his own factory, it created this sense of pride among the people of France, because this was their monument. It symbolized progress. It was the best thing since sliced bread in France at that time. And that concludes my talk about the Eiffel Tower. Have a good afternoon. Thank you for listening.